not really scary. I think if I was going to have a conversation with Valeri Liukin to tell him his coaching methods are somewhat abusive, I think that would be scary. Because these are not really, um, but the hint is it starts with your approach, and that you'll see a lot of that in this. But first of all, the culture. How do we do things around here? Good culture is important, and the norms and expectations of a strong culture. So, in your gym, do you guys have a culture of somebody jumping in to help when someone has an emergency? Do you have a culture that really helps build other people up? Do you have a culture where everybody gossips about somebody else or talks about laughs at what someone's wearing or how they're trying a new move that looks stupid, or something like that? So what's your culture? Like, you don't come in and talk badly about anybody else, hopefully, right? We always want to try to have a good culture. So this, I swear I have this in everyone. It's Pej's dog, Kobe.
Yeah.
And then I have a new one with Ashton. It's fun. So those are our positive feelings. And then we have because I said so. And so as you're coaching, as you're talking at the desk, as you're interacting with someone else, just try to keep those feelings in the back of your head, because I swear if you have good feelings with another person on how you say it, you soften it and you show I'm trying to help the other person. It really does make a difference. Sometimes Lauren, when she's saying something a little negative, she laughs after it. I notice that habit, in case any desert people notice that. She's like, well, maybe you should do something different. So feelings with our customers, we want to communicate about their child. Anybody at the desk know of a parent who wants to talk so much about their child?
Yes.
They love talking about their child. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And when you know as a coach, if you as a coach or a front desk person know something about their child or them, boy, does that make a difference. You are up on the top with them. I mean, Allie has this running thing with like 3 or 4 different parents where, oh yeah, that's me and him. We just talk to each other and rouse each other or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well that email sounded rude. They're like, no, he's just joking. I'm like, okay. He says stuff. So you care about them and their needs, the parents, and you would like to get to know them a little bit, like having oh, you're going on vacation. Where are you going? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Talking to them, getting to know them a little bit. You're a friendly and happy face. I have been so bad at that over my years. I'm like, I'm working. A friendly, happy face. Because there's people who are known, and there'll be some in this room, who are known as that friendly face that you go, oh, I'm so glad to see you, because you are a happy, friendly person. And then there's others who are like, doing my work like me. Okay, feelings with parents. First, they want to feel respected. That's a really important thing. So if you're talking down to any of them, bad. Feel your policies and pricing are fair. You hear them and care about their needs. And you educate through caring. So really important at the desk. You definitely don't want to have a rule teller. Well, what you're not allowed to do is, and you're not this and this, and you're not that, those kind of rule tell. And you know what? Kids don't like it either. You can't go on that trampoline. You can't this, you can't that. Well, what can they do? Like, try to rephrase it. Hey, you know about what we could do is I'm going to set up this mini tramp here into the pit. You can do that instead. That's different than you can't go on the trampoline, right? So feelings, but they're not supposed to be on kids, but see, I wandered already. All right, feelings with other staff. You have as much value as I do. Like, there's no person here who's better elevated more than the other person. So we're trying really hard to make that feeling. It's the same in the gym when there's this amazing Olympic level athlete, and then there's a special needs kid who won't put their head down for a forward roll. Same value, right, guys? We always want to feel that. Your class setup is more important, as important as my needs. We had a thing one time where one of our coaches, we only had one floor at the time, and they took 6 gymnasts and put them in one person per panel and took the entire floor. And someone came over and said, can I share? And he said, nope, we're doing whole routines on the panels. Not good, coach. You show interest in their life. So this is a really good thing. All these things help with these difficult conversations. So you show interest in your life. What's going on with your mom? Hey, what about your dad? I heard that your kid is da, da, da. Oh my God, I saw their dance performance. It was so amazing. And also we can help each other. You know, that's asking for help is a really good thing. All right, feelings with kids. So kids are our true customer because you definitely will not keep paying this much money for something they don't want to go do. So if they do not like it at all, they're not coming. So our true customer. Um, and they must like their teacher. They must like their teacher. They must have fun and build self-esteem. And then you help them set short-term goals, enjoy the process of learning. That's a really important thing. And it's really good if you can give them something positive to tell their parents. Hey, I was so proud of you. You did X, Y, and Z today. You were such a good listener. You were the best helper. You helped out the teacher so much. I'm so proud of you, right? Oh, that was that slide. Okay. And the number one reason that kids usually quit a sport is the coach. So just if you can keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, kids' feelings. They also want to feel respected. They also want to feel that you've treated them fairly. Why does such and such always get to be the line leader? That's not fair. So you have to think of those things. That you hear them, you're not a one-way communication. In the world of elite gymnastics, in the old culture, in the bad culture, it's almost all one way. You this, you this, you this, you this, you this, you this, you this. And there is nothing coming back from the kid. And Sarah knows with Kaylin, I would be like, okay, so what do you feel on that? What do you think is, do you think you can do another one? How are your legs feeling? Blah, blah. And they have to come back and forth. So you really want to remember that when you're teaching kids, if you can have a two-way communication. The younger kids are going to be more, you're going to watch their emotions, but the older kids, they should be able to communicate with you. You want to educate through caring, not just saying the mistakes. In Eastern European gymnastics, you only tell them what was wrong. I watched this girl doing a flip lay, tuck full on the beam. Hardest thing, 4 in a row. Your legs are bent. What are you doing? You got to straighten your legs. I was like, that was amazing. So I tried to tell the kid, oh my God, that was amazing. Like, feel so proud of yourself for that. But if you only say the mistakes, then they start feeling really negative about themselves. Don't negate the feelings. We already talked about that in the last one. You shouldn't be upset with you shouldn't feel this. You shouldn't be sad. You shouldn't be scared. Why are you scared of that? If you negate their feelings, that doesn't help. And also it makes them not trust themselves. I'm feeling like this, and you're telling me I shouldn't feel like that, then that doesn't help them trust themselves and their feelings. Remind them that we learn through mistakes. The only way for a kid to get better is to learn through mistakes. I mean, that's us too. I mean, the number of mistakes I've made in running gym cats, woo, learned a lot. So many. And then you want to have future positive result predictions. So I could see if you just get this and this, I could see you adding another half twist to that. Or I could see you doing over split ring leap. You know, whatever. Because you're so good at this. And then the last thing is compliment sandwiches. Did you know that these studies used to be, you know, you say positive, correction, positive, that now it's like 4 or 5 to 1 that you want to do 4 or 5 positives to 1 thing to work on. And the other thing to do it, instead of it's a negative, it's more of challenge. Remember that word? We learned that last year in mini Congress or 2 years ago. Challenge, challenge, challenge. Here's your next challenge, right? Okay, so psychological safety is needed for openness. Do you guys provide that here at your gym? You know, do we have that where you feel like that you can admit mistakes without being like told you're terrible? You know, did you feel like you can miss? There's not one person in the whole world who has not made mistakes, right? Everybody makes them. So it's better to admit, yeah, you know what, maybe I could have done that better. That wasn't exactly the best way to do it, but you know, you learn it from it. And then every single staff member, parent, kid needs to feel safe to ask questions, take risks, and be vulnerable. How does anybody in their gyms feel a certain way, positive or negative with that? Anybody have any examples? All right. We're all, well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to speak up. That's part of this. There's no psychological safetyness in this program. Okay. These are not very easy to read, but especially they're way darker on my screen. But there are two types of culture, and we were going to go through each of these. So on the ideal culture, you can see those that side, and on the toxic culture, those sides. So transparent versus secretive, collaborative versus dictative, and etc. And we're going to go through each of those. This is from Danny B's. Stole it. Okay, so transparent versus secretive. First of all, if you see something, please speak up. We do not want somebody, well, yeah, that person has been saying these rude things to kids for 3 months. I just, I didn't want to, it's not my place to say anything. I know that kid's, was feelings were being hurt, but that's not my job, right? It's everybody's job to see something, say something. Occasionally there, something negative happens, like when you see the corner there's a broken mirror. If something breaks, say something. Like, we understand no one wants to admit something happened and they did it, but we're going to see it anyway, and it's better to just say it. It doesn't mean anything. So please try to speak up for whatever you see or notice at the gym.
Does that mean you don't have to do it?
I do not.
We go.
Clear expectations. So at your in your business, or at your gym, you want clear expectations. You want it regarding levels or move ups or athlete behavior, staff attendance, duties, responsibility, office, etc. So that takes time, and that's really hard. But if you can get clear expectations and what should be happening, that's what you want to try to do. On gossiping, we want to put a stop to it. It's really hard. It's so much easier to bitch and moan than it is to address the person directly. And when I say directly, it means directly with understanding. Remember, we first understand what they're saying before we seek to be understood ourselves. So you're not attacking them. You're trying to understand where they're coming from when the situation is there. And if you have a problem with someone, approach them versus gossip. Use the foundation you have built with them. So all of this stuff is building that relationship, so you have that foundation. You want to have a good, strong foundation with them. Okay, collaborative versus dictative. This is a little bit hard to read, so I'll try to read it for you. If you're collaborative, you're asking questions. What does support look like for me? How can I help you? Because the kid is upset, the parent's upset, whatever it is. How you're asking questions. How did that practice term feel? What is the best way to help motivate you? How can I best help your child in this situation? So you're asking questions, because I think, like, especially as parents, if you guys are parents here, we like to dictate a lot. We're telling you what to do, tell, and you do that with younger kids. You're always telling people what to do, little kids what to do. But it is better to ask questions. You want to avoid constant corrections. So I see you are focused on making a change. Maybe you could try this instead. So you're trying that. It seems you need more strength to make that skill. Maybe you could do 10 leg lifts. Do you think that would help you? And then create space for input. Our team needs to work on more strength. Any ideas? I've gone to Celeste for a lot of these things. Remember, we're like, okay, what's going on? What should we do with this group? Ask for help, because sometimes you need help. Okay, this is learn it alls versus know it all. So in a growth mindset, here's my book that changed my life right here. Mindset. I wish I had it when my daughter was younger, but she was old by the time this book came out. But this is perfectionist. All parents and teachers and anybody, especially who has a perfectionist fixed mindset, should read this book. All teachers, coaches, and parents should read that, because it helped me change the whole thinking of, how to frame things, and that helps a perfectionist so much. So growth mindset is the belief in continual learning, strength in sharing knowledge, and you'll grow beyond imaginable. And it happens all the time with me. I'm like, oof, I don't know if that kid's going to get that. And then all of a sudden they get that, and that. And you're like, wow, that was amazing. So it happens all the time. Know-it-alls they have a fixed mindset. So that's that, well, if I can't do it now, if I'm not talented enough, I'm not this enough, I can't do it. So I'll never be able to do it. They're driven by ego and they fear irrelevance and they will stop short of excellence. So here's a little bit more on fixed and growth mindset. I won't read all of those, but when you have the fixed mindset, there's no room for you to grow and improve and keep getting better. It's just, this is the way it is. And you really think, that's why, do you know, this is the hardest thing ever, especially for people who teach preschool and when a little baby is new. Oh my God, they're so cute. They're so cute. They're so cute. And that, I say it too. So I'm not saying it, but really you shouldn't say that because as they get older, they can't help cute. There's no power over cute. You're so smart. They can't help smart. That doesn't help. And I make those compliments too, but we should try as a society to stop talking like that and talk about things. Oh my gosh, you were so helpful to mommy in loading the dishwasher. That was amazing. You were so kind to your sister and you played with that little baby so nice. Those are things they can control. But if you talk about their looks or their smartness or there are things they can't control, then that is more of, okay, well, they told me I'm smart and now I can't get this math problem. So I give up because, I'm smart and I should have been able to get it. They give up. And that's what fixed mindset is like. So you want to try really hard to change that mindset to the growth mindset. And that's framed by parents. So sometimes the parents don't keep that going at home. So Danny Bees always talks about, these are the gymnasts' response. Who wants a challenge? And if you have a growth mindset, you're excited to try the challenge. If you have a fixed mindset, you're fearful of failing and being judged. Let's do 10 leg lifts to get stronger. A growth mindset will see the conditioning as a way to improve, and the fixed will see it as punishment. So yeah, you can take this miserable conditioning two ways, growth or fixed. Also, I have a thing about when the conditioning's too miserable, it's not worth it. So just, and check out Katie's split jump. Growth mindset, everybody, you'll be inspired. And a fixed mindset, they'll feel threatened. Well, of course, Katie's their favorite and Katie's better than me and Katie, all that. So, okay. And then with coworkers, a coworker who their classes are always more full and everybody loves them and they work harder than you, whatever. Growth, you're inspired by that. You begin working harder too. A fixed mindset, you feel threatened, rolls your eyes, mocks and gossips about them. Coworker employee is unknowledgeable. Growth is a coworker can learn and improve. Fixed is they're not smart. We shouldn't waste our time. A challenging situation in a growth mindset, you're excited to figure out ways to solve it. In a fixed mindset, you're fearful of not being able to solve it and looking incompetent. So we want to try to change those around. Okay, so this is happy versus fearful. So process praise. You recognize progress and effort, understanding. You listen and use compassion during conflict. Encouraging, you walk on the journey with the employees and gymnasts. And fun and energetic, use games, dances, getting loud, positive energy, cheering, etc. So that's your happy. A lot of gyms in the country are not happy. If you go in there, you'll see a lot of negativity. I'm usually talking about very intense, high-level gyms, not like a rec gym. Usually it's pretty fun. And fearful is pretty much the opposite. I won't read all those. Okay, and then empathetic versus insensitive. Express your emotions. You're feeling frustrated is okay, but throwing your water bottle is not okay. So you can hurt somebody. Educator, regulating emotions and conflict resolution are skills that need practice. So somebody said to me, when a kid, who as a parent has done this, your kid is throwing a big fit and you go, I want you to go in your room and think about how to behave. Has anybody done that? My mom's done. She did that to you? Done that? Okay. So if your kid, so this is the example that somebody used to me, they said, your kid is not able to swim. Would you ever say, go get in that room and go think about how you should swim? Right? So the problem when they don't know how to react and they're throwing their water bottle or throwing a big fit is because they don't have the skill to deal with their emotions, to regulate. So that's what we're trying to teach them. And so just going in and being punished for their no ability to regulate their emotions, that doesn't help them regulate their emotions. Embraces humanness, understands that kids and staff are not robots. Did you guys know that? Are not robots. If you go to some lectures, I'm going to USA Gymnastics. I'm doing lectures in New Orleans and then again in Region 1 Congress in San Jose. And we go to some of them and they literally start talking like every kid is this robot. And I'm like, well, that works if they weren't a human. You know, I mean, so anyway. Okay, tactics for dealing with uncomfortable conversations. Just a real quick thing about leadership. If you can emerge as a leader, and that's not just at gym cats or desert gym cats or everywhere, anywhere you work, but even in your home, if you can work with difficult personalities, oh my God, you are primed for being a great leader, because that is hard. Difficult and different personalities is a really, really hard thing. So there's a couple ways. You can be direct with the person, you can distract, you can delegate, delay, and then you document. When you're having an uncomfortable conversation, these are some of the things that we can do to try to tackle that. All right, tackling tough conversations. So on number 1, it says ask yourself 3 questions. The questions are, what is my purpose for having this conversation? What assumptions am I making about the other person's intentions? And what buttons of mine are being pushed and what personal history is being triggered? So when you're having one of those, I just want to go punch that other person in the head. What is the purpose right now? Am I going to go make it worse? Am I going to make it better? How am I going to go interact with that person so that we have a good conversation? Check yourself and decide whether to raise the issue, because everybody knows. I know there's a story of one of my daughters when she was really little. Tasha's sister was babysitting, and she's like, she is going to take a bath. And there was a fight beyond all fights that you've ever heard of. And Jordan was not going to let her win, and she was going to take a bath. Oh, that was Lauren. That was Lauren. She was going to take a bath, and Lauren was not going to. I was like, oh my God, at a certain point, that is not worth it. Let her not take a bath when you're babysitting her for one night. Like, it is not worth it. So sometimes you ask, is it a good idea to raise this issue? Sometimes it's best to just let it go. So, oops. Approach from a neutral perspective. So what's a neutral perspective mean?
You don't pick sides.
You're not picking sides. You're not saying you're the bad one and you're the good one. I mean, it's really good when I have a conflict. If I had a conflict with Hillary here, if I could go, okay, let me put myself in her shoes. All right now, I don't even know this or that. That's why if she tells me more of what's going on, then I have more, oh yeah, I'm able to put myself in her shoes more. If you don't
describe here.
Yeah. And so approach it from a neutral perspective. That means that you're assuming good intent. Explore their story and yours. So sometimes you have your story and that evil person over there is bad. And that's your story. And you know you're right. The other person is bad, evil, wrong. Their story is not worth even hearing because we know how they are. Those kind of mentality does not help you solve the problem. And then we're trying to problem solve at the end of that to move forward. All right, these are just some slides. Are you a complainer or a conqueror? Some people don't consider their complaints as complaints. They consider them as being just really realistic. If you fail at something, do you have anybody in here who replays their mistake over and over and over in their head? Allie? She says she does it. Yeah. They're beating yourself and replaying your mistake over and over in your head is not healthy for you. I lost a coach's handstand contest once, and for 3 weeks I woke Taylor up and she said every morning, I just can't believe you lost that, mommy. Every day. I was like, God, is that stuck in your head? But she's such a perfectionist. She bragged to everybody first that I was going to win. So it was really disappointing to her. Are you being a victim or an owner? So everybody has traumatic things that happen to them in their life. Everybody has that. So at a certain point, you want to try to work through that. So I have this little thing from this slide. So it says, don't let your history interfere with your destiny. Let today be the day you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start taking action towards the life you want. You have the power and time to shape your life. Break free from the poisonous victim mentality and embrace the truth of your greatness. You are not meant for a mundane or mediocre life. Steve Maraboli, no idea. But sometimes a good thing, because it is hard. It is hard not to sit there and dwell on something, but it is not helpful to you. Okay, so here are some tips. Whoops. No. Oh no. Why am I not able to switch? Okay, here's some tips to make it easier to approach a difficult conversation. Oh, now it worked. Say hello consistently. So I thought about this, and I'm the worst. I'm the worst at this. I'm in the middle of something. I don't stop and say hello. So it is really good. So somebody said, I think it's terrible when you walk into a room and the dog is more excited to see you than the people in the room. That's happened, right? The dog is more important, more happy to see you than the people in the room. So that is not a good thing. So say hello consistently. I think that's a really good tip to building that relationship that helps you. Show genuine interest in others and care about their life struggles. So that's, it's hard to do that with everybody, but the people you interact with, if you can, that's a really good thing. Work together with them using a growth mindset and approach them from the win-win perspective that we learned in the other thing. Win-win perspective. All right, we're trying to share this space or tackle this. How about you take this and I take that, or win-win. Anybody ever have a fight with their spouse or their significant other, and you're saying, but you made me feel this, and you said this, and you, that keeps the argument going. You want to say, well, when you said that to me, I felt like da 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 da. When you did when you were doing this, it made me feel you didn't care about me. Because if it's from I feel perspective, it can really help you to not get that attack thing back and forth, right? Okay, so here are a few tips in the gym for people who are misguided a little bit. We had this with Jennifer today, actually. Yeah.
Having people that frustrate you, arguing with people, having ideological, all of this is really, you can separate the person from any behavior. Behaviors are over here, and people are here. And you can love the person and dislike a behavior.
Right.
If you talk about that behavior without not loving the person, not liking the person, and that is relevant. All content.
Right. For sure. So she, for you on Zoom, she was talking about the behavior is something you can dislike the person. And everybody here, right, does a behavior that somebody else doesn't like at times, right? No, I'm perfect. I've never done something wrong. So, okay, so this happened with Jennifer today. My kids needs to be pushed to move up and do better. We say to that, well, my kid needs to be pushed. They have to be pushed to do better. That's a hard one because they think they're paying for you to push their kid. So here's my answer. We have found that kids with higher self-esteem always perform better and achieve more. So parents, teachers, and coaches need to build that self-esteem by pointing out the positives. Be careful with pressure because it so often leads to the kids shutting down, giving up, or pushing back. What teenager doesn't do the exact opposite of what their parents want them to do? So if you keep pushing, even though your child's 7 and they listen to everything you're saying right now, when they're 13, they're going to push back. So whatever you didn't want, whatever you wanted them to do, they're going to do the opposite. Other staff members keep taking the whole floor and they're not working with me to take, I need some space. Why aren't they working with me? Hey, Pat. I don't think anybody named Pat or Jim. Hey, Pat, I'm always struggling to find space during my beginner class. Can you give me any ideas how to make my class run smoother? So the person who's taken all the space, if you ask them for help with yours, then they now are part of finding the solution, right? I think that's really good. Okay, my child only wants to be taught by Miss Mandy. I don't think we have a Mandy either. At the desk, we'll say something like, we totally understand and want to help you get that class. We can put it on the wait list. And in the meantime, it's great education to get ready for school, to get more comfortable with different teaching styles and different teachers. And then you make them kind of want to choose it. You didn't tell them they have to choose it, another teacher, because some people are like, I only want blah, blah, blah. But you try to put a seed in their head of why it's good to explore other teachers. Yes, Adrian.
I gave this the other day, actually. I would tell parents like, yeah, actually, she made a little too comfortable with me. We have a great time, and I think that's why a teacher would benefit from a little bit of like movement and like open them up to a bunch of stuff that I could never. Something like put a positive spin on.
Put a positive spin on it.
Or a new piece.
That's a really good way to frame it. And if you have parents who are pressuring kids, if you can help them to frame it differently, it really does help the kid, because if it's they got their 9-0 or made their back handspring or didn't, then it's pass fail and there's no value in the middle of working through it. So you want to really try hard to change frame the situation. Parents are not participating in the Parent and Me class. What can you say to them? So here's a solution. Hey guys, I love that you're helping your kids become more independent and get ready for class without parents. But if you see your child running off or cutting in front of others, I would love it if you could jump in or yell at me to jump in if I'm closer. So you're kind of like putting it on them, but you're also saying, I'm here to help. You know, that would really be good. Okay, and then this is a #1 rule of coaching for everybody. Don't get cynical if you have to repeat, because we have had to repeat certain things 5 billion times in the gym. But if you have to tell a coworker in there something twice, you're like, I already told her. So don't get cynical. I already told her that last week and she didn't listen to me. I'm like, I understand. It is frustrating. We understand that. So see, I have compassion and empathy for your feelings, but this is normal. This is what happens. The human brain needs lots of repetition. Have you ever heard about that? They repeat the phone number on an ad how many times for you to? That's if people use ads and phone numbers anymore. All right, mental shift. You're not just a gymnastics coach, you are an educator. Will this future adult look back on this interaction positively? Will they? All right, so I have a section of my Congress presentation that I was gonna try to, it's a little more gymnastics related, but I was also trying to practice it a little bit. But before I do that, on the previous slide that we just went through, does anybody have any anecdotes or things like Adrian brought up that might help other people to learn? It's
Okay,
Yeah.
so with your example that you use me for, and this is for like coming from middle management, right? Cause like I have employees and then I have boss. And so she said like how she doesn't know what's going on in my life and how I have to talk to her. I often like try to think about like if a criticism comes from her or something that I feel is like undeserved or like doesn't make sense. I also try to think like what's going on in Cassie's life, right? Because even though she owns a place, it's not all sunshine and roses for you. So like one time I was like we were really fighting and I was like, I'm just gonna go in there and give her a hug and just walk out. And like that's all I was gonna do because it was like, what must be going on with her? If like I'm getting flack for something I don't think I should be getting flack for, because a lot of times, even with the kids or the parents, like they're so upset at you and you're like, you can't possibly be this upset at me over this, whatever, right? And sometimes it's just like, you know, I was like, let's just disarm you. Because I'm not a hugger, right? You're not a hugger, and that probably would have really, like, flabbergasted.
No, I mean, it again goes back to building the foundation and the relationship. And, you know, she's come in weekly or whatever and talk and, you know, got busy, didn't. And so now I'm like out of touch more. Doesn't, not a great excuse because I could pick up the phone call, you know, phone or
Well, there's like
running.
Viva Fest and like, there's a million things always going on, right? And we're in season and so.
Right.
But it's like, you know, it's hard because like I'll deal with like my staff's emotions, right? And then like her emotions, cause I have it from both sides. So it's like, don't be afraid to like consider your superiors' feelings too, because we're not infallible by any means.
Right. And so also with that, try to put this phrase in your head every time you're about to go address somebody. Assume good intent. Assume it. Because you don't get into trouble that way. You assume bad intent and then you're like, oops, I didn't even realize they this, and this, and I was wrong. Completely wrong. At least if you assume good intent and you just made a mistake, you're not accusing somebody of something. Got that. Anybody else have one? Yes.
Yeah, I have one thing I want to say to that. I think, at least in my opinion, that teamwork and sharing and all of that between coaches is the most crucial part of our job besides the aspect of teaching the kids. Because a lot of times when I will like combine some areas with a coach I maybe don't know that well or something, I get to know that coach better, I get to know how they teach, and it helps me get ideas, they can get ideas off of me. And I think that my kids, I share a lot with Rashawn and with Nick and Reagan and all sorts of other people. And my kids like those coaches too. So it helps the kids be comfortable with more than just me, like you were talking about. They get comfortable with other coaches and dynamics, and then there's two sets of eyes on this kind of area. More kids, there can be Coach Rashawn can be helping my kid with something that I didn't see, or he can do it in some sort of way like that. So I think that's very
play off his point too. You know, sometimes while you're coaching these 100 classes, like you're excited to like more gymnastics, right? There's a moment after some of them where you might get burnt out. So if there's a chance where you can like cooperate with another coach and bounce off ideas.
Yeah.
When you both are merging with each other, if there's times where the other coach can kind of take over, give you a second to breathe, and you can get your energy back up so the kid doesn't feel like you're not paying attention to him. So it helps a lot when you're merging, well, not merging with other classes, but like cooperating with other coaches so you guys can both feed off each other.
Collaborating is really important. It helps gives you ideas. And we always talk about a secondary purpose. I don't know if you guys use that in Ninja at all, but when there's something repetitive and boring helps you get good at something. So when you're learning to type, is there any kids who don't know how to type in here? Probably. Probably. Typing is the best skill I ever learned. Typing. But you have to repeat it. It's boring. But they have a typing game. The letters fall from the sky and you have to type them before they hit or they explode and then you die. You know, if your house is burnt down, you know, it's a game. So you keep in a gymnastics, you might go, okay, grab pieces until time is up. All right, count your pieces. That's it. That's the only, it helps them keep going. Anytime you can do something like that in your rotations. I have a secondary purpose. I have a reason to keep doing the most boring thing over and over again because we have this game we're going to play at the end once we build this many. All right, let me just go through this, just parts of it a little bit, not too much. I'll go fast. So I'm doing my 10 steps to help teenagers stay into the gym. First one we have is mix it up. Just talking about when Tasha first went to the ranch, they did a 45-minute run every day. 45 minutes. Boring. And nowadays, every elite club does 10 minutes every day. Running. Just running. Different running. Very boring. We almost always do different assignments. We mix it up through our YouTube dances and different acrobatic things, something that's fun. So it's different all the time. Strength. So I don't like strength as a set strength rotation. It just, to me, there's too much sitting around in between. So I like the strength to be incorporated on every apparatus doing the skills that they need to get strong on. So if they need to do a kip handstand, then they're working on kneel up handstands. If they have to get stronger at kips, they're doing a ton of glides or leg lifts. Strength all the time. So you want to try to include it in side strength or points or cards or wipe them off the board or whatever. Trying to incorporate it. A half an hour of just strength usually means they're doing about 5 minutes of activity between with the rest in between. Obviously that depends on the level, but make it relate to the problem. So we don't want to do we're doing half turns that are nicely held in releve, and then they fall on it, so then you get down and do push-ups. That doesn't make sense. You're trying to improve their releve, then we don't do push-ups, right? So you want it to relate to the problem. We also like small quantities, but really good. So if you watch 20L leg lifts with bent knees, I prefer 4 good ones. Desiree? Desiree. That being said, speed can make any, okay, we're gonna all practice my exercise. I'm gonna have everybody try to. Speed can make anything tough. So everybody stand up. Speed can make anything tough. All right, so I'm gonna make my Congress people do this, so we're gonna explore. Make sure you have enough room to pick your knee up in front of you. So if you don't, move a little bit. Okay, so I was watching this YouTube video. And they had their arms over their head and they said, tap your knee. And then tap your other knee. And you cannot run. And I was like, this is the dumbest exercise I have ever seen in my whole life. And then this YouTube video started going as fast as you can and see if you guys in 10 seconds can get 20 in. Ready? On your mark. Get set. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And time. All right, sit down.
Yeah.
Anybody try? Well, but easy, we didn't try that hard. You guys see how speed can make anything. So I was doing unloading my dishwasher, and then I was like, I'm gonna try that. I mean, it was no, just an idea. Speed can make anything much more tiring, like a lot more tiring. And as you could tell from that jump thing. So we were doing like, if you do runs like this, but then you do runs like, it's so different. Okay. So maybe they'll do that, right? Okay, conditioning ideas. We do 5-minute rounds or a group handstand goal. That means like everybody comes over and then once our whole group gets to a minute. So they could only do a second, but once we get around, something like that. Card picked equals the number of that item. Sometimes that's not the smartest, just depending on which items it is, if it's too hard or too easy. Music conditioning, we have a Beyonce music that I'm going to show. Here's Selena, when we first did it. Always work handstands wherever you can. Handstands are in every part of gymnastics. If you can work more handstands, you want them to get upside down and do a better handstand. Let's see. This is a wall slide. It's an advanced one. So you're trying to keep your back, and then the top left is a floor bar thing where they bounce or hop, lift the bar off the ground, and wall slides keep your back next to the wall. So the diagonal wall is the first basic handstand, then you get stomach close to the wall, and then those are drills to get better shape. Okay. Whoops. I don't know why sometimes it doesn't work. Oh no. Uh-oh. All right. I might have to restart my program. Shoot. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay. Oh, and movers. Okay. Damn it. I put it to 33. Okay, this is twisting. You want to get it the correct way. If anybody's ever taught a round off in the air, that's usually the wrong way to twist. So you want to be sure if you're ever teaching front twisting, back twisting, that you know which way they should be twisting. You want to teach them in the same direction. If the floor, the beam, or the trampoline, it's really smart. If it knows you're twisting, it will push you crooked. So if you turn off the beam or off the tramp, you will be going crooked. So that's just like a little way to think about it. You have to take off and then twist. Ninja stuff twists off the floor to try to spin into the ground, but it also creates sometimes twisted landings, which hurts your knees. So you gotta be careful on that. To check if they've twisted early, I have some demonstrations by Desiree later. But you have lines and things to land between. And then always start with late twisting. You want to start with late twisting first because twisting always gets earlier. Okay, number 5. There's only 10. Number 5 is beaming for success. Does anybody know what beam feet is? That's Selena. Beam feet is not the left. Beam feet is the side, what's on the right. Toe to heel. So that's really hard to teach for a lot of people, but you don't want your feet turned. When you're plie, we say to plie over the mommy toe. I don't know why I put the second toe. I put the big daddy is the big one, and then mommy is the second. But you don't want your knee going off to the side where Uncle Joe is or whatever. Hands on the beam for flip flops. You want your fingers straight as you're doing a back handspring. So you want your front index finger pointed straight. Righty step out with left hand in front. Lefty step out with right hand in front. So those are really important. This is a early split back handspring, so it's a little drill for that. I hold her back leg, and then she gets it. Hold her back leg. That's Leah. Little Leah. Okay. For round-offs on the beam, you want your same foot as your cartwheel. So that's one of those. Full turn preference to start in a lunge, so we don't do a step in as another variable. These are my little tips and tricks. Number 6 is thumbs on the bar. Some kids cannot do thumbs, but if they can, this is a better way for them to, if you watch her thumbs move each time, as she sits up, her thumbs go over the bar and over the bar again. So every time they sit up, you want to get their thumbs over the bar. This is advanced stuff. So if they're ready to do that, you want to try to add that. Okay. Celeste is up. Number 7 is air sense. Use trampoline. If you can start doing combinations, this is a level 4 routine. She learned it in maybe a minute, 2 minutes. This is the old level 4 routine. I think it's changing. But she's trying to do things connected, and the higher you go on trampoline, the harder it is. So you want to try to get them to go really high, hit the good shapes. And it really builds coordination and skills. So if you are up to the level to add little combinations, seat, doggy, forward roll, all these kind of things, it really helps them in their coordination on every event. Okay, basics for tumbling. This is the hurdle. This is Desiree's up. So she hurdles, she's rounding her back and landing with her back foot on, so the back foot can also push. Is that funny, Desi? Okay, so then you want to use obstacles. So a lot of my stuff has obstacles. You try to go between it and land, not outside. But do I have to tell her that she's a little crooked? No, because she sees it, right? Okay. Oh, I thought I switched. Okay, cartwheel drag, you want to turn over and stay down and land between those. That's really good. This is going to be some of my stuff I go through in the tumbling tomorrow. So in case you're not here, you already know some of it. Here's her cartwheel with one arm and the other arm. Those are really important to stay between mats so that they feel really, really straight. And also adding one arm roundoffs. The reason you want to do one arm roundoffs is because then each arm has to work. Because we have kids who twist around and only one arm's doing the work. So you really want to try to do that. Let's see.
You're having them alternate arms.
Yeah, we do near arm, far arm. I don't know. Yeah, it depends. Some kids can't do a far arm cartwheel, so it's a little harder. But this is trying to do roundoff. So she's holding scarves between her ears, so we keep our arms in, and she's trying to land not on the pad. So she holds round, open, and don't land on the pad. Did I switch? Okay. There's one more. Oh, didn't I just do that one? Okay, yeah, that was straighter, right? Down the line and jump back, trying to stay down. This helps you turn over your round off. If you're doing round up back handsprings, this helps you turn over. So you get your feet under you and you're nice and round. Oops. Okay, we don't need to watch that one. All right, so this is a really long video, super old too. Super old. Actually, Leah's in this one too. So this is just saying use obstacles, use equipment, use things that put the item where you want it to be. So if you want them to block over it, put something there that they would hit if they don't do it right. Desi Jones is, oh, I think that's Victoria. Here's Leah. Here's Leah. I think it was you. She hits it. So she didn't get enough block off of her hand. You don't have to tell her that because she's got things that are telling her for you. So anytime when you're teaching, you could set up something that helps them do it without you having to go, oh, you're crooked again. Every time you stick something there for them to realize they were off, this really helps. So these are twisting jumps. You hit it at the half, really important. These are trying to kick sticks, so you can hold sticks or use Velcro. Leap over. This is when the upholsteries was leap, step, hop, a million years ago. Straddle jumps though, trying to hit those. Hit them, kick it, kick it, kick it. Makes her work so much harder than just doing the straddle jump. Side handstand, just trying to hold it between there. She can use it to balance, but see the rib cage out a little bit. You want the rib cage in and the hips flat. Strong walk over, don't touch it when you're standing up. Your arms are nice and narrow when you're standing up. Very good. And this is a hurdle round up. This is a Yurchenko drill. Go over things. That's it. All right, we're almost done. Okay, so that's number 9. Let the equipment make the correction for you. Oh wait, this is Raven's. She was crossing over on her round off. So if you see how she's stepping on the mat, that mat stepping is what. I'm pressing play on that one. Oh, it says cannot play media. So you see how she's stepping over and crossing over? If you put something there, they can feel it. And then number 10 is getting reps in. You time for numbers, you time everything. Hey, there's 30 seconds left. 25 seconds, 15, 10, 5. They start working harder. If you're just like, keep working on that, and they're like, laying around. It really, really helps. So try to get as many different kinds of things you can. The seconds app we use sometimes, and a whole bunch of them. All right, that's it. Right, we got one more 10-minute break. If we can make it 5, we'll start early and get started on the next thing. This will be our last thing, so if you guys get up here quickly, we can start it a little bit earlier. All right, last one, it's gonna start 5 minutes.